John here with Elton's Retirement Journey and Travel on the travel segment of my channel. And this slideshow presentation is called Imprisoned Behind the Iron Curtain. And I want to dedicate this video to Hans. Hans sat next to me on a flight from Berlin to Amsterdam about 2 weeks ago. He served in the Norwegian military as part of the NATO contingent, and he showed great interest in my travels, specifically the Stasi prison, um, which I took some photos on the inside and wanted to tell you a little bit about that experience with a lot of us in the West don't really have any experience with the security services um, behind the Iron Curtain with all those communist countries. So I want to dedicate this to Hans. And I traveled to Germany about 2 weeks ago with Gate One Travels. Gate One is a international travel company. They have a website, gate1travels.com. I urge you, if you're thinking about taking a vacation, to just go ahead and sign up. You'll get some flash sales for some of the trips where they do mark down the tours, as well as give you a promo code that you can use to get yourself a nice hefty discount. I think I got a discount of $350. And every year they have a waiver of the single supplement. So if you're the type of person here, I don't know if I want to go by myself. There's always going to be a group of people there. This trip to Germany, we went to Berlin, we went to Dresden, Nuremberg, and we finished up in Munich. And there were 42 people on the tour. So, with that said, I recommend you sign up and watch for their promotions and take yourself a nice vacation. And I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation about the Stasi prison and the state security services, better known as a Stasi. And I'll be right back. All right, here's the first thing we're going to see when you approach the facility. This is on the outside. And this building that they show there, they have used some of the talent of the prisoners to make weapons and some of their listening devices. And that's the name of the prison. I'm not going to try and pronounce it because I'll just screw it up. And this is what you see as you start to walk in. I go to the right and go through those gates, and that's one of the buildings there. It was in the neighborhood. It's that's it right there. These are all the houses and the rest of the apartments and stuff around there. So this is the basement of one of the first buildings that was erected. They call it the submarine because when you go in, you don't see any light, no windows, no nothing, and you're just locked up in there. And there's your accommodations. Look at the size of those doors. And here you can see that they got plenty of room down there. Now this, you go down and you turn to the left and you'll find, or to the right, and there's other corridors with these cells down in this basement area. So the state security, once you're suspected of being in cahoots with the West or a subversive type person, they build their case by doing surveillance. They had well over 25,000 employees working there in the Berlin area and probably across the rest of East Germany. And they pick you up in here and you're driven into this garage area. You come out, you see the stairwell right there, takes you right into where you go through intake. And you don't see too many people riding around here in the US with a vehicle like that. Here you will be getting your garb And these are your accommodations for the next 2.5 to 10 years. This is another building, and they've got different levels. As they got these big old cells, they just lock you up in there. You're in there. Here is where you get yourself photographed. Now they do feed you pretty well. Our tour guide was telling, his name is Joe. We're going to meet him shortly, as well as you do get your 1 hour a day or a week or something like that outside. Meet Joe. This is his photograph from when he was a inmate here at this prison. It's another good picture of him. And this is what he got picked up for passing out these leaflets. This is in German, but here it is in English, and I'm going to read it to you. Citizens, comrades, foreign tanks in Czechoslovakia only serve the class enemy. Think about the reputation of socialism in the world. Demand truthful information. Nobody is too stupid to think for themselves. This is 1968. And there is Joe today. This is where he would be talking with his attorney. And this is the interrogation room here. They usually have you sit with your hands under your legs. Another picture of the other buildings that were built. Now, Joe was telling me is that as you're moving around, you never see the outside. You don't know where you're at. Guard tower here. And this is a Stasi museum. I had visited this museum on my first trip to Germany. It is actually the headquarters of state security. And we're going to just take a few looks here. Here's some of their listening devices. Surveillance, gathering information about people and catching people trying to escape to the West. Here you've got their documentation from their listening with all these bugs and listening devices. They write you up, keep a file on you, and keep it in the archive. After the wall dropped, citizens wanted to go in there and get their files. All right, look at the technology here. They didn't. They put a little bit something into their bugging devices. Here's something they use to carry around in that bag. Could be something to use to listen in. This is what amazed me on my first trip. This is a door here, and inside the door, they've got a mic in there, and they're using Duracell batteries. You know, they only get those from the West. They have the maintenance crew come in and do all the wiretapping and put the bugs in and stuff. Some of their equipment. And this will surely get you put into the prison here, trying to smuggle someone over to West Berlin. And this is one of the meeting rooms at the Stasi headquarters. Look, look at the beautiful wood paneling from back in the 60s. Some more of their devices. And that's it. I'm going to come back in and give you a wrap up. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the slideshow from the Stasi prison in Berlin. And that was the eastern part of Germany, where that facility was maintained at. It had been in operation all the way up to the fall of the Berlin Wall. A lot of the citizens rushed. The Stasi Museum is the state security headquarters. So that's where they had all of their listening devices, um, the offices, the archives, uh, the whole process was actually in that building. And Joe had did 2.5 years for passing out those leaflets, and the year was 1968. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and think about doing some traveling. I really enjoyed this, and I wanted to premiere this because I know that we here in the West don't have a good understanding of what it's like to be under the socialism like that. But it wasn't just Germany. That whole quarter, the Iron Curtain, as Churchill says, was a number of states, and they all pretty much operated their security service the same way as they did in East Germany. So my name is John, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. And thanks for stopping by. Kindly leave some likes and think about subscribing. Take care.